Hi, I'm State Senator John Rafferty, the 44th District, and welcome to this edition of the Rafferty Report. Today, this is going to be very educational and exciting for us. We're touring Sly Fox Brewery, located in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Sly Fox is an incredible story of the American dream. They're a leading business here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and you're going to find out leading American manufacturing back into the United States instead of reversal, which we've seen so many times. The people of Sly Fox Brewery are very innovative, very creative. They're growing, as is the craft brewery market here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and throughout the United States. They're members of the Pennsylvania Brewery Association, and I'm very happy to be here today. We're going to have a chance to walk around with Brian O'Reilly, the brewmaster for Sly Fox. We had a chance to talk to Patrick Mullen, the director of sales, and I'm being told that a little bit later on we're going to meet one of the owners of Sly Fox. So enjoy this program, and we'll get started in a moment.
Welcome to the Rafferty Report with State Senator John Rafferty, a program intended to keep you, the citizens of Chester, Montgomery, and Berks counties, well informed on public issues.
With me now is Brian O'Reilly, brewmaster at Sly Fox. Brian, thank you for the opportunity to tour the facility.
Thanks for being here, Senator Rafferty.
Could you tell us a little bit about Sly Fox, and really, let's start from the beginning. How did you become interested in being a brewmaster?
Well, in college, I got a degree in philosophy and literature, so I had a lot of great career opportunities. But I noticed one thing I enjoyed quite a bit was beer. And so I started home brewing and then volunteered at a brewery after graduating. And while I was substitute teaching, if I didn't get a call to teach, I would go in and work at the brewery. And it turned into a job, and then another job, and another job. And finally, someone left, and they said, hey, you can be the head guy. And I said, okay, I'll do that. And that's how it all started.
Now, how many different varieties does Sly Fox brew?
We package about 13 or 14 different beers a year that go out to wholesale trade. But we also have our brew pub in Phoenixville, and we'll do some specialty beers there. So all in all, it's about 40 different beer varieties throughout the year.
Now, I noticed O'Reilly Stout.
Yeah.
Name for you?
It's named after me. We needed a good Irish name for that stout, and I was born with one, so we used it.
That's great. Well, tell us a little bit about Sly Fox and the history of Sly Fox. I myself had frequented Sly Fox when it was in Royersford.
Yep.
And I know now that someone else has taken over and you've located here in Pottstown, Pennsylvania.
We opened almost 17 years ago in Phoenixville as a brew pub, and that business grew and grew and grew. Eventually, when I got involved, we started selling beer to taverns in Philadelphia and the 5-county area, and that grew, so we opened the second facility in Royersford and started really packaging beer in cans and bottles there, and that, again, continued to grow, and we were there for almost 8 years, and then we didn't have any more room. Mm-hmm. And so we decided to eventually, after pulling teeth, build another facility and come here. And when we did, we ended up selling that restaurant to some employees. And now we have still the same brew pub in Phoenixville, but that moved across the street, but just across the street. And now we're out of Royersford, but here in Pottstown.
It's the heart of the industry, was in and stayed in the 44th Senatorial District. Yep. I'm very proud of that fact. With Sly Fox now here located in Pottstown, and we'll get a chance to go through the whole facility, you have retail as well as an eating facility here.
Yep. We have what we call a tasting room. In Phoenixville, we have a full restaurant where you sit down, a waiter comes up, takes your order. Here, it's very casual. You can come in and try the beers. Just go up to the bar, place an order. But we don't have table service. Okay. So we do a little bit of barbecue. We have a brick oven pizza, which I'm sure we're going to throw something in a little later. And we've got a bunch of different beers to taste. And of course, people can pick up a keg, a 6-pack, a case to take home with them.
What's in this room, Brian, that we're standing in now?
This is kind of where the process starts for us. We have big malt silos outside where we receive bulk malt. And this chain conveyor actually brings the malt in from outside and up to our mill, which is up here. So we'll take the majority of the malt, especially malt, from the silos. It'll come through the chain and up through and go through the mill and into this, what we call our grist case. And then if we have some specialty malts, some darker or caramelized malts, they get added right here, right to the specialty malt case. And this conveyor is very special because those discs transfer the malt without grinding it up or destroying the husk. And that's very important because we want to feed it to that mill on top and crack it open just right.
Okay.
And so We'll mill for the day before, and it'll sit in this grist case, and the whole thing is on load cells so that the computer can confirm that everything's just right before we start the brew.
Is it the same type malt for a base for all the beers, and then you add the specialty malts, or
we use two different base malts.
Okay.
One is from Canada. It's a pale malt, a little more biscuity, and then we use a Pilsner malt from Bamberg, Germany.
That's great. And now this operates automatically, or do you need someone here?
It does. We need to add the specialty malt here, and then we can operate it from the computer. It opens the valve on the silo, and we love the degree of control that we've achieved with this new equipment.
How many days of operation is Sly Fox going?
We're here 5 days a week, 2 shifts. From here, this next conveyor, when we're ready to start the brewing process, pulls the malt that's now cracked open into the mash kettle. We'll step up there and take a look. So at the start of the process, that conveyor will bring the grist or the cracked malt to this infuser. It'll mix it with hot water and then drop it in here. We've got a big paddle on the bottom that actually mixes it up, and will ramp it up through different temperatures. Today we're brewing the second batch of the day. It's our Pikeland Pils, which is beer that's won many, many different awards for us. It's a nice dry German style Pilsner. So right now we're heating up the mash to 73 degrees C. And this paddle and the whole system is designed to be very gentle to the malt, very gentle to the mash, and to heat very evenly.
Now, Brian, I know in talking with you and talking with Victory and talking with Straub's, Appellation, Yuengling, the craft beers in Pennsylvania are really taking off.
Eastern Pennsylvania, and actually all of Pennsylvania, is one of the strongest, if not the best markets in the world for beer.
Really?
In the world.
And it's primarily the craft beers.
Primarily the craft beers have the most energy and enthusiasm, but I think especially on the eastern part of the state, we also have an incredible amount of imports available. Very distinctive, well-made imports. When I sometimes am doing sales, and we're in New Jersey and New York and Pennsylvania, just those 3 states. Many times I'm in Brooklyn or New York City and people say, oh, another great beer from Pennsylvania. What is it with you guys? And I think some of that has to do with our great German history, PA Dutch German history, and also the standard was set very high by the first people to make craft beer in the state, Stouts Brewing Company, and continued with Victory Brewing Company. So we have very high standards, and we all challenge each other to do even better. And of course, Yuengling, that long history, the oldest brewery in America. But also, I think now our laws have allowed these breweries to make a lot of different beers and have them available to the public as well. One
of the things I like to point out is the Pennsylvania breweries, Sly Fox, Yuengling, Victory, Straub's, Appellation, they're all Pennsylvania known, and they're all America known.
Yes.
Unlike the big guys. And that's a real credit to us. Now, in conversation with Wegmans, they told me when they began selling beer in Pennsylvania, about 70-75% of the beers they sell are the craft beers.
Yes. Yep, they're a really great account for us. We certainly love the distributors as well that have supported our brand from the beginning. But it's great for people to be able to pick up a single bottle, especially we do some cork finish bottles, and just try one before they go to a distributor and buy a case.
Yeah, that's one thing we have to work on for the distributors in the future, but that's a nice thing about if you go to Wegmans or a tavern, you can pick up 2 6-packs and try it, or 1 6-pack and try it to see if you like it. But that's great for the craft breweries. I'm very happy to hear that you're making that mark here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, wonderful.
Now, before we get out, I noticed there's some banners here in front of us. Can you tell us a little bit about each beer? We'll start with the Pikeland Pils.
Pikeland Pils we're actually brewing right now. It's a German-style lager, very golden in color, light in body, and very, very herbal and dry from the hops. They're continental hops grown in Germany and the Czech Republic. It's won a couple medals at the actually 3 medals at the Great American Beer Festival. It was actually named best beer in the can by Men's Health this year. So it's very, very, quite a few accolades for us. We also have Royal Weiss, which is a Bavarian-style wheat beer. It's traditionally served unfiltered, so it's got some haze to it. We use a special yeast with that beer that produces a banana and clove-like aroma. And we've got our O'Reilly Stout, an Irish-style dry stout that you mentioned earlier. And that is the O'Reilly crest there. It's a bloody hand. So the story of that is that young O'Reilly was a really good runner, and King O'Neill had a race through his kingdom to see who would win his daughter's hand in marriage. And he ran pretty well, and he was ahead of everyone. But when he got to the goal was who could touch the castle door first, and the drawbridge was up, and he couldn't swim. So he turned over his shoulder and looked and saw that some other guys were on their way. And he took out his sword, lopped off his hand, and threw it against the castle wall, and then won her hand in marriage. So it could tell you a little bit about my family. Yeah. It does ring
being
true.
A fellow Irishman, I'm not surprised to hear that. That's a solution to a problem.
So we figure you can keep your hand and enjoy this beer and have a little bit of that heritage. We also have our Oktoberfest lager, which is a seasonal that we're currently shipping now. Nice amber style, malty balance with the hops. We've got our Phoenix Pale Ale, which is an American style pale ale. Copper in color and some citrus hop character to it.
And this one, the ale you said had a banana scent to it?
Yeah, the Royal Vice. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll have to try some of that later.
Yeah, well, you get all the essential ingredients and you get fruit, you get...
Yep. So this malt will basically then get pumped over to this vessel here. It's waiting right now to receive the... We'll turn the rakes here. So it'll then go into this vessel, which is our lauter tun. It's got a special false bottom, and we'll rinse those sugars off the husks and back into the kettle here. Then we'll bring that to a boil, and once that's boiling, we'll add the hops. And hops will give us a spicy character, some aroma, and some dryness, so that when you drink the beer, it's got a nice dry finish and makes you want another sip. So this whole thing is run by computers, which in some senses might seem less poetic, but we love the idea that we can make a change to a beer and it happens exactly the same every time. We have so much more control over the whole process.
So when you buy Oktoberfest this year, it's going to be essentially the same next year?
Yep. And so down at the bottom we've got hop dosers. We'll load the hops in, and once the brewer will acknowledge it, it shows a little picture there. And then during the boil, it'll pump the wort through there and pick up the hops. Once we're done boiling, it'll get pumped to the whirlpool, which is down here. So Senator Rafferty, here, the unfermented beer gets pumped into one of these tanks, and this is where we add the yeast. The yeast ferments and creates alcohol and CO2. And for our ales, 2 weeks later, we're ready to then filter these beers. For the lager, it's about 4 or 5 weeks. Okay. Either way, they're both cooled. And the reason they have a conical bottom is the yeast will settle to the bottom, and we'll be able to collect it, reuse it, and then also discard what we don't need. You can see Mike here is operating the filter, so the beer's passing through. It uses diatomaceous syrup, just like a pool filter, that stacks up on the screens and filters the beer, and then gets pumped over to our bright beer tanks. At that point, it's as fresh as it can get. It's hours old, and usually a day later it goes into either a can, a bottle, or a keg. These tanks have 3 brews, and we've actually got 2 more that are being built. I just got pictures in New York at Feldmeyer Equipment. So one will go here and one will go right where we're standing. We've got room for 3 more. So this is part of our planned expansion. At this point, the beer gets filtered to one of these tanks, and then the next day, usually, we will package from it. So today, we're running kegs over here. We're kegging our O'Reilly Stout, and we're also canning our India Pale Ale.
Now, how much of this is automated? How much of it is human-driven? And then, of course, the next question is about how many people do you employ here at Sly Fox?
Next, we have, give or take, about 10 employees here doing production, and we have 4 or 5 in the tasting room. So.
And I see most of it is automated, but is there certain things, I guess for filling the kegs, you need the operator?
The operator here has to scrub the outside of the kegs, flip them upside down, tap them, and then confirm that they're filled. So it fills, but we have to be actively involved. The place we're standing now will be, at some point we'll outgrow this and we'll put a more automated one here.
Okay.
The canning line we'll take a look at.
Sure.
We certainly don't handle every can, but this big green monster here is a depalletizer that will help automate that even more.
Ryan, on these, I see there's an explanation for the India Pale Ale. On all your cans, is there an explanation of what the beer is like?
There is, and sometimes it's a style we're defining the style, sometimes we're mentioning something else. But so yeah, this is a empty can. They come to us printed. You can see the top is flared out. So once the beer is filled, this lid goes on, and then we'll take a look at the seamer. It hooks the lid up underneath and then squishes them together.
Oh, okay.
And you can actually feel there's a plastic polymer on the inside.
Yeah.
And that's what protects the aluminum from the beer, or the beer from the aluminum. And that's what protects the whole thing and makes the beer taste great. So my daughter loves to play with these lids. We'll keep that. So the cans come in, and the first thing you hear that little squeak, they're getting a blast of CO2 to evacuate the air from the can. Then the valve gets open. They come around, get filled with beer. On the back quarter, about 3 o'clock, the rotary filler, the valve is closed. Then it'll vent the CO2 and then come off the filler here full. As it comes through, we bubble CO2 through the top of the beer to get rid of any oxygen again. In this seamer, there are two tools. The first one, like I said, will hook up underneath the can, and the second one will squish the seam together. So then they're rinsed with water to get the excess beer off and blown dry. So you can see the cans here, how that seam goes together. Now, this seam is a really, really wonderful seal. It really keeps out oxygen, and it's much superior than a bottle crown that's just a single seam.
Nice and cold, too.
Nice and cold. Here we're really big about quality control. So, delicious. Delicious. So they come through this way.
And that's from the brewmaster.
They get blown dry, which is very important, and then into our 6-packer or a case packer. Now we have another investment coming in a few months, which is a case packer that'll do that automatically.
Oh, all right,
well.
okay.
So this whole area is going to be developing as we...
Right now you're set up to do 6s or 24?
24.
Okay.
Yep. So all our corrugated and our boxes are done in Pennsylvania as well.
I like that.
Yeah, we do too.
I've always been a big promoter of the Pennsylvania breweries and the Pennsylvania wineries.
Yep.
Very important for our economy and for the revitalization of our business here in Pennsylvania.
I think it's great. I mean, those are two great products that people can enjoy together. And you know, we've certainly got chocolate in Pennsylvania, so what more do you need?
That's right, we got Asher's right down the road, and I'm blessed that I have Manatawny and Janet Mackey wineries both in my district as well. So
we've had a great symbiotic relationship with Pennsylvania wineries. Obviously, with the law, we're at our tasting room, we can pour their wine. And they just passed a law that now they can offer bigger containers so we can do draft. And we're next week, maybe even tomorrow, going to start pouring some Walnut Winery wine on draft.
Oh, really?
So we're excited about that.
Very nice.
But yeah, here's our cooler. So all the beer comes in here to wait until we ship it out on trucks. And you know, we rotate this inventory, and then we've got our kegs that we tap right up on the front for the tasting room.
So,
yeah,
when you ship, this would go to the beer IDs, if you will, the big distributors.
Yeah, our ID is a Riglio beverage for the 5 counties.
No, Mary Ann, Steve. Yep.
Yeah, and then they'll bring case by case out to the distributors.
Okay.
So they're a great partner for us. We'd never get it done if we had to drive the trucks all day long.
Yeah, we're fortunate. Riglio, Mueller, Gretz, they're very good partners with the beer industry here in the Southeast. Yeah. I like this. Is great. Now, all your brands canned as well, besides on the tap, or just certain ones?
No, just certain ones. Certain ones. Although as our brewery grows, we're growing enough that we have bigger volumes and we can afford to can more different beer brands. So we're adding 3 new brands this year to the can portfolio. So excited about that. We're walking by our chiller that keeps all those beers cold in the tanks, and that was built in Philadelphia by Drake Refrigeration. So we're very happy to be able to source that locally. They're a great company.
Another all ready to go, the kegs?
Those are all empty. They've
Okay.
come back, and they're sitting there ready to get cleaned and filled. And then the husk, this is our spent grain silo
Okay.
there, that we've rinsed all the sugar from, gets pumped into that tank, and a local farmer drives underneath, opens it up, it drops in his truck. And so that's really the only waste product we have in brewing is the spent brewer's grains. It's mostly just that endosperm, you know, that husky product like you get in popcorn. And it's great for dairy feed.
So you recycle, use it for...
He uses it to feed his cows. He can feed up to 40% of their total diet, and it increases milk production by 10%.
Really?
So it's a great, he's very happy to get free feed. We're very happy to get rid of our waste efficiently and quickly. And every now and then we get some milk from him too, as well.
Let's see the ingredients of the beer making process.
Yeah.
Healthy for you.
Absolutely.
Brian, quite a unique map of Pennsylvania here, and all the counties are outlined as well. Could you tell us a little bit about the creation of this map?
Well, there's a company called Virtual Farm in Phoenixville that designed all our cans and does our website and helps us with advertising. And they wanted to put this together, and we thought it was a great idea. And it was so beautiful. We really liked the rustic look of it, and of course, it's Pennsylvania. So when we opened this pub and they said, would you mind if we hung that there? We were very excited. And then the long conversations about where it should go happened. And we like this placement because it, you know, you can kind of feel it, and it's just somewhat of a tactile thing as opposed to being up high where people can't really see what it's made out of. This was a fundraiser that we got involved with this year for Operation Homefront. So there was, I think, 6 or 7 breweries across the United States that were involved with that to brew a beer. It was all the same recipe, an India Pale Ale that was actually brewed with orange peel. And we sold this beer, and we donated all our proceeds, and the ingredients were donated, and it got shipped to a bunch of bars in the 5 county areas, and they all donated money from their sale. And in a couple weeks, we're actually really excited because the local Operation Homefront's going to come, and we're going to present them with a big check of the money raised, and someone's going to get to take this back home.
Fantastic.
Really,
that's great.
So this was, you know, donated by Louisville Slugger, so it's a real
Louisville
collector's,
Slugger, yeah.
collector's edition. So.
Oh, that's fantastic, Brian. Congratulations to you and Sly Fox. Now you've met Brian, and we talked about Patrick, all Irish names. Now you're going to meet John Giannopoulos, who's the owner of Sly Fox Brewery and longtime involvement in this area and a businessman in this area. John, it's good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Senator.
Best wishes with the new location.
Thank you very much.
I was telling everyone what a story you are, and you're one of the Pennsylvania businesses that's growing, and we're proud to point to you and say you're one of those Pennsylvania businesses that's really helping the economy out. But there's also an American success story here. Could you tell us a little bit about the keg industry, the metal keg industry that
Sure.
you're responsible for?
Well, about 5 years ago, it was very difficult to get a beer keg in this country. There's nobody who manufactures beer kegs in America, and we were a growing brewery and unable to get kegs. So with my background in manufacturing, I said, well, let me look into this, and decided that I would start a company to manufacture beer kegs. I had pretty good experience in manufacturing with companies in China, and figured what I would do is start up the operations in China because of lower cost tooling and things like that, prove out the concept, and then hopefully someday start them in America. So that's where we are right now. We have secured a facility in Pottstown on 31 Robinson Street, and hope to be manufacturing kegs by the first or second quarter of 13.
That's fantastic. Where we see manufacturing leaving to go to China and other countries, now you're bringing it back here to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yes, you know, for a couple different reasons. Number one, you know, I've always wanted to be able to say made in America. Number two, much shorter supply chain. We bring product in from China, it's a, you know, 3 or 4 month lead time. And, you know, for small growing breweries, it ties up their cash for a long time versus just a couple of weeks.
Well, if your background's manufacturing, how'd you get into the brewery business?
Well, because I like beer. No, I mean, of course, it is still manufacturing in the beer business, you know, but, you know, I think it really started out, you know, and Sly Fox is a family company, so it's not just me, it's my brother Pete, my brother Harry, my brother Glenn, my sister Wendy, my mom and dad, so it's a whole big family operation. You know, we started, Pete actually was the initiator of the company 17 years ago when we opened up the brew pub in Phoenixville, so it all started way back then. and Pete and I were home brewers, so that's kind of how it all got started.
Our guys are ready to throw a pizza in the oven too. We have a brick oven pizza available here, and we'd love to show you how they're made. Senator, we have a nice big dough mixer in back. We use very high quality flour, and all the pizzas are kind of made by hand, so the guys are throwing a couple together for us here. And it's interesting, this oven is very hot, about 750 degrees. So it makes the pizza very quick. It's kind of a different style, more flatbread style pizza.
Well, it's a great combination, pizza and beer.
Yeah, we like it. We like it.
Now, can you get various toppings then on the pizza?
You can. You can make your own. We've got some creative things for people to order. We get some local. One of my favorite pizzas is made with barbecue sauce, caramelized onions, and we actually have a local kielbasa that we use. Maybe these guys can remind me where it's from.
Now you do, besides the pizza, you said sometimes you have pulled pork or barbecue pork?
We do some barbecue as well, yeah. Some chicken, some pulled pork.
Very nice. Great place to come for Friday evening meal or weeknight meal, Saturday night meal, yeah.
It's my 6-year-old daughter's favorite place right now. She's really into pizza, so that works fine. You know?
Now how many days in here?
We're open Wednesday through Sunday.
Wednesday through Sunday?
So just close Monday and Tuesday to give these guys a break.
Sure. And what are your hours?
We open at 11:30 every day.
Okay.
And usually close sometime a little after 10. So pretty big hours.
Yeah, yeah.
Tours right now are 2 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday, so that's a great trip. Come in, take a tour, get some pizza, bring a case home with you.
Brian, we have before us 4 samples of beer that's available in the bottle, which we were talking about earlier. Could you tell us a little bit about this? Now, are these 4 of other brands you have as well for Sly Fox?
Yes, so like for example, this Saison is a farmhouse style beer, and the process is a little different for these bottles. The beer gets filtered, but then we add yeast and sugar again, and it ferments a second time right in the bottle. So it goes into the bottle flat, but then once it's filtered, and that yeast and sugar get to work right in the bottle, it creates almost like a champagne-like carbonation. And it really makes a nice, effervescent, distinctive, and complex beer. So, and there's a little bit of yeast that settles out in the bottom. So they're very nice beers that can be almost enjoyed like a bottle of wine between 2 people at dinner.
What kind of special events can people expect here at Sly Fox?
It's true. We became very well known for one of our big events at the Phoenixville Brew Pub is our goat races. Always the first Sunday in May, and we celebrate Bock beer. We have a German Oompa band. We've got German dancers, and we race goats. The last few years we've had over 40 goats that race. And the winning goat, we name our Maibach beer after and tap it once they've won the race. And it's just a wonderful, great family event. My 6-year-old looks forward to it every year. She's been going, since she was born. And we're doing our first event here in Pottstown we're really excited about. There's a Frisbee game that's called Can Jam, and it's a little bit like horseshoes with Frisbees, and we really love this game and kind of adopted it as our official Sly Fox game. And last year we did a tournament for the first time. And we thought, what can we do with this tournament and do something unique in Pottstown? So we're doing a big festival called Can Jam. So we're going to have the Frisbee tournament as part of it. We'll also, the winners of the Frisbee tournament win their weight in beer. So we don't know how much it's going to be, if they're 2 skinny guys, 2 big guys. We also have 6 regional bands coming in. We're going to erect a big stage, so it'll be a big music festival. And we've got the Philly Pigs coming to do barbecue to go along with our pizza. So it's going to be a really beautiful, wonderful day. So
what is the date?
September 22nd.
September 22nd.
Yep.
So if you're looking for something to do in a fall day, come up to Sly Fox Brewery. This has been great, and I just think it's fantastic. Not only are you a successful business, but you're a good neighbor. You're helping out people in need, you're helping out the community, and I think that's wonderful. It's been a great opportunity for us to explore one of Pennsylvania's growing industry, Sly Fox Brewery, here in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. As we've heard, the craft beer industry here, from Yuengling to Victory to Sly Fox to Straub's to Appalachian to Yards, they're all growing here in Pennsylvania and growing throughout the country, I may add. So it's a real niche industry for us here in Pennsylvania to get behind and to support. not only with visiting them and buying their products, but also in government to be able to ensure that we encourage Pennsylvania businesses to grow. It's been a wonderful opportunity to share Sly Fox Brewery and their operations with you. I hope you enjoyed this program. I'm John Rafferty. Until next time.
Disabled citizens may request a transcript of this program by calling area code 717-787-6725 or 1-800-364-1581 TTY.